In the depths of the night, we're the kings of the game. This that gang flow through the highs and the lows. We rise from the shadows, let the darkness expose. From the streets to the throne, we let our truth show. You know the vibe, you know the code. It's the gang flow.
Welcome to the official Phenom Podcast, the home of heroes, villains, and the universe we're building from the ground up.
This is where we break down the stories, the characters, and the creative process behind Phenom Comics.
We're talking world building, indie comics, the mission to become one of the greatest indie comic brands in the world. Welcome to Phenom. Every comic universe we love started with one thing, a risk. Today we're telling you how Phenom Comics was born and why we're aiming to become one of the greatest indie comic brands in the world. So, I want to introduce myself for those who do not know. I am founder and CEO Mike Otis. And for the first time, I would like to introduce to you guys my creative assistant and co host, my wife, Gabee O. So, we're going to talk about what the podcast is about. Heroes, villains, world building, indie growth, and the future of Phenom. And we're going to talk about what started it all. Where did Phenom begin? What sparked the idea for Phenom Comics? Why comics specifically, not film, not novels? And the early inspirations, you know what I'm saying? Like tone, realism, darkness, and my ambition, you know? So the question is, when was the moment that I realized that this can be bigger than just one story?
Um, well, the moment that I realized it could be bigger than one story was when you actually made the comic. Um, when you wrote it, it wasn't just an idea because you never have just one idea. You created more characters, titles, and ideas than just one comic before you even wrote the comic. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it became real, you know, when you got it copywritten.
Right.
And then when you started getting concept art done and finally getting someone to actually draw out, and illustrate the panels.
Right. So so like when did it stop feeling like just a project, I guess?
Um, Earlier this year, well, about a year ago,
Yeah.
exactly,
Right.
when we first started doing promotion and created the pages, the social media pages, looking for artists, creating the company,
Mm-hmm.
and then um, getting the Kickstarter going. All of the things that led up to us finally finishing the comic and now, having it for sale.
Okay.
I guess it was the biggest moment was probably when you launched the Kickstarter,
Okay.
because before it was just concept art and okay, you had it copywritten, but a lot of people don't go further than that.
Sure. No, I can definitely understand that. So obviously, well when it came down to me being, you know, by being just a project, when I actually decided, once I got into it, when I first wrote Night Reaper and I first started writing Night Reaper, and I was completely just, in the zone at the time because if you remember, uh, this is when we really got real. Even you know what I'm saying, we was already fans, but when we got real heavy into the MCU, you know what I'm saying, we pretty much didn't miss not one movie. You know what I mean? And then on top of that as well, that's when around the time too when Daredevil first came out. It was around the time when Daredevil first came out, and we will catch every episode when we could. And then I don't remember, was it every episode? Was it an episode a week or was it the actual full season that was already put on there? Do you remember?
I think at the time they were dropping full seasons, and then they stopped doing that because it was affecting like the workforce and everything. People were calling off
Or to
so they
watch
could
the
watch it.
Yeah, okay, that would make sense. But I mean, look, that was the best thing back then if you really think about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, that was one of the biggest things where going behind the scenes trying to figure out how we wanted to do everything, and um, I felt like it made sense at that time, and it was just the fan in me, man, from back then that sparked all that, and I knew I wanted to go forward with this even more. You know what I'm saying? So what we're gonna do now is now we're gonna talk about why build a universe, right? And figure out what was the difference. What's the differences between one-off stories versus a shared universe? What's your take on that?
Um.
Since you are a big book reader, so I'm pretty sure you know how that is.
Well, a one-off story ends. Like it has a complete and finite ending. There is no. There's no room to expand on it.
Right.
I feel like that's, in my opinion, that's kind of hard to do with a comic.
Uh-huh.
You can't. You can, but there's so much that you could do in a comic universe,
Right.
versus just one comic, one story. What about the other characters? What are their stories? Where
Uh-huh.
do they come from? You can't put all of that in one comic.
Right. Right.
You have to tell a backstory. Each individual character, you have to show growth and development. You can't do that in one comic. You have to build a universe.
Yeah. And then obviously so that's basically comparing the one-off stories versus the shared universe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So what are we look at it more so with the long-term storyteller versus quick wins.
right.
So long-term storytelling versus quick wins. So for me, when I feel like long-term storytelling is what keeps people interested. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a one-hit wonder. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Compared to like if you like, we're fans of anime, right? One thing you don't like when after you watch one season of an anime that you like, the last thing you want to deal with is you don't see it again. You know what I mean? And you be looking for another. You waiting for another season because you be like, okay, that's good. So where's the rest of it? You know what I mean? Like, because there's more to the story that should be told. You know?
Well, I think that when it's written a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
you do have more room, for a long term character development, the story building. But when people rush it, or if it's just straight to the point in every episode, or comic, manga, whatever,
Right.
there's no point in long term. You told the whole story.
Yeah.
So that slow burn, basically, that development, like with Naruto finding himself, finding out who he is, finding out that he really comes from greatness,
Yeah.
even though the village treated him like he
Like
was
complete
enemy number
trash.
one.
Complete trash.
Um,
I still hate that. I ain't gonna lie.
it was storytelling over time that made him a great,
It made him a
you
great
know,
character.
yeah, made him
Right.
become Hokage. And you can't you can't tell Naruto's story
Yeah.
in a couple episodes,
Yeah.
one season.
That's real.
It's a long character development. He had to grow up.
Right.
He had to grow mentally, physically. You know, he had to learn his history.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that's when you fall in love with the characters. You know, the long term story building, that progression, watching them grow.
Right.
Learning their fears, their great success, everything.
Yeah. Okay. So my thing is, when it like what differs from those and anything, obviously we need to talk about why patience matters in world building. Like for real.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, it's like when we first watched Bleach and you struggled through
oh
the first
man.
season.
No, for real. I remember
I liked it from episode 1,
it was too
but
slow.
I feel like that is the difference between me and you, where I read a lot because you have to give it time,
Yeah.
you know. Um I didn't feel like it started out slow.
It. I mean, mind you, like I told you, I look. My thing is, I grew up a Dragon Ball Z dude. So
Yeah.
anything, if it wasn't Dragon Ball Z, I felt like it was false flagging. Let's keep it like for real. That's how I felt. I felt like if you represent Dragon Ball Z, anything outside of Dragon Ball Z was a betrayal. I swear. That's how I was when I was younger. I didn't care to watch no other animes whatsoever when it came down to it. So I stuck with that. So, and that's why, thinking about it now, like even with what I'm doing now with Phenom Comics, you know what I'm saying? Building the Phenom verse, you know what I'm saying? Building this new brand in the indie scene, and why and trust me, I'm a new creator. By all means, I started writing Phenom Comics and literally what almost a decade ago. Technically, it's almost been almost a decade since I started when I first wrote Night Reaper, my first comic hero. You know, coming up with the ideas with everyone, and then finally getting to a position where now I'm not focused on everything else on the outside of this. I'm focused on the brand that we're trying to build. You know what I mean? And it can be, you know, it can be if you don't have any patience, it'll be hard on you because you got so much that you have within you that you want to put out there, that you want to share with the world, man. And
The details matter.
the details do matter, but then it also gets to a point where again why patience matters in world buildings because you need to be sure that you got everything right. Now, the thing is, I understood and I understand that when it come down to it, everything has to, you have to take your time, right? You shouldn't rush to do everything. Everything is not going to be perfect. Let's be real. Everything is not going to be perfect, but you have to be sure that whatever you do, it works out for you. And then even if you decide you want to pay or another thing with building your world, because if you don't know how to do the art yourself, you got to hire people to do it for you, right? So, and the thing is, you have to be patient with your artist as well, because you probably you're quick. You probably want to be like, you know what? I want to put this art out there quick, fast, in a hurry, man. I want to put this book out there. I want to put whatever story or whatever whoop the whoop out there, and it's like if you want perfection, because at the end of the day, if you rush the people who's doing the work for you, it's not gonna come out right. And not only that, but it puts a lot of baggage on them. So, and then if it doesn't turn out right, what's going to happen? You're going to have an attitude about it. You're going to feel some type of way that you're going to you're going to have an issue. talking about, oh, this ain't right, man, or whatever the case may be. And it's like patience, man, because this if you're building a world, if you're looking to build a world instead of just trying to sell a product, it's going to take patience like it ain't nothing.
You also have to understand that nobody can see what you see. It's
Exactly.
very hard to take something out of your mind and put it on paper
Right.
from someone else's point of view.
Right.
So,
So we have to also think about the stakes, consequences, and character evolution when it comes down to this too. You know what I'm saying? Look, let's keep it real, man. We're not chasing trends, we're building legacy. And that's exactly what we're planning on doing. That's exactly what we're planning on doing. We are not chasing trends, we are building legacy. Doing what we do. Now, going back and still going off of why patience matters in world building, because again, we're talking about stakes, consequences, and character evolution. Now, understand that the stakes behind this whole thing is what I've basically touched on is if you're rushing, you have no patience whatsoever within the situation, you will not have a complete story the way you actually want it to be. You know what I'm saying? And you also have to think about the consequences. The consequences can be that you're so pushy when it comes down to dealing with your artist or anybody like that where they don't even want to work with you no more because you're too hard to please, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
also, if you have writers, like if
Yeah,
you're having
that oh
if you
yeah.
just develop a character and you have someone else write for you,
Right,
or maybe you have a story, but you don't have character development.
right.
It's not easy. Like I said, it's not easy to take what's in your mind and
And
put
put
it
it
on
on paper.
paper
Yeah.
from someone else's point of view. There's
Right.
a lot of communication that goes into it.
Yes, that's true. And the importance of the character evolution is the growth from the character, which is one of the reasons. Um, touching back on anime,
Mm,
reasons why I don't watch every anime because I prefer the story building behind a character where they actually start from the struggle to greatness.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Reasons why I like Dragon Ball Z, why I like why Naruto's my thing. Them people that were the underdogs, people that got basically
Count it out.
counted out, shitted on, things like that. And at the end of the day, what did you do? You didn't let that change you. If anything, it kept you stayed a good person, regardless of how many beatings or anything like that. You started out weak, but you kept putting in the work. And when it came down to it, you became great.
Well, it's relatable too.
Yeah, very. That's why a lot of people love Spider-Man.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or they say Spider-Man is the most popular superhero if in Marvel, if not comic books, period, because Spider-Man is very relatable. Spider-Man is a nerdy kid that used to get beat on. You lose your family, your parents, so you are basically your aunt and uncle take you on. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
go ahead.
Well, relatability matters. You know, especially with character evolution, because take Iron Man for example. He was a billionaire, grew up rich,
Yeah,
never had to struggle
yeah,
until he was betrayed.
yeah,
So he would never have been relatable or someone that people wanted to write, read, or even watch if he hadn't gone through something. People who are overpowered and have everything are boring.
yeah.
They're not
Because
relatable.
exactly, I'm not rich.
You
I'm
know,
poor as hell. I
yeah,
can't relate to you. I mean, you an awesome character.
most rich people are boring.
Yeah,
Y'all all do the same thing.
yeah.
Oh, this is exclusive. No one wants to go to your party with your disgusting food and your judgment,
Your little nuggets.
and everybody looks the same. Everybody does the same thing.
Right.
You have all the same friends. You look down on everybody because they're not like you.
Right.
But most of the world's wealth comes from thieves
Yeah.
who were honestly protected by their time.
True.
There was no technology to stop you from doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
If anybody were to tell on you, they had to have so much proof,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that was basically impossible to get back then.
That's true.
So you all just come from a bunch of thieves
Right.
and you're not relatable. And then you look down on somebody who made their money honestly
Right.
because they're new.
Right. Yeah.
So most rich people are not relatable.
That's
Like I
true.
said, they're just a bunch of carbon copies. They're boring. So if everybody's Superman, then nobody is.
Hey.
You know,
Yeah. That's no. You right. Because I'm gonna tell you. Look, you know how I feel. I don't like now. Since you brought up Superman, I'm just, I was just saying. Since you brought up Superman, look, I don't hate Superman. Okay, I don't hate Superman. Me personally, I'm sorry. He's just overrated as hell to me. He is. I feel like he's very overpowered. Now I know a lot of you who are that will listen to this podcast, this episode, and be right there like, Mike, what the hell you talking about? I love Superman and this and that and anything. He ain't overrated. Who the heck are you to say this and say that? Look, he is 100%. What in the hell? You got a dude who not only has superhuman. He ain't look. He's strong as hell. He's bulletproof. He breathes. He can blow on you and freeze you. He got laser beams that can come out his eyes. He can see through walls. He can fly. You know what I'm saying? He can fly. He got superhuman speed. He got super speed. Damn near can keep up with the Flash and running. You know what I mean? And then it was one instance where Superman even developed telepathy. You telling me that ain't overrated? And then the biggest flaw that I hate the most?
his weakness is a green pebble.
No, it's the fact that that people don't see that this is Superman when he's Clark Kent when he got glasses on. That's the problem. I don't like that, man. I'm sorry. At least Batman wears a full mask. This dude, Superman, literally wears glasses. Now, mind you, it's been hella people that has walked up on Superman that sees Superman, like people he worked with, even Lois Lane retarded ass. I'm sorry. You see this dude, but this is before she even knew Clark Kent was Superman. I'm sorry. He was literally, you work with this guy. How you kiss and hug up on Superman, right? And then you go to work the next day. You see Clark and you don't say, this is Superman. Oh, he ain't Superman. He got glasses on. Oh, sorry. He got glasses on. I ain't no way that's Superman. I'm sorry. That's why I don't like Superman like that. I don't like I said, I don't hate him. I like Superman I mean, I like his character, but to me, he's overrated. I'm sorry. I'm more of a grounded type of guy when it comes down to heroes and anti-heroes and stuff like that. Look, I just can't do it. Okay. That's just my thing. That's just my thing. And I understand it's a comic book thing, it's a superhero thing, but come on, man. You just completely his whole identity is you can't nobody tell who this guy is because he got glasses on. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. You telling me, look, my wife could tell if I was Superman. Want me to tell you how I know she could tell if I was Superman? I have a goatee and you see my teeth and you see my lips. So you telling me you can't tell that that's me because I done put some glasses on or I took some glasses off?
And they're not even sunglasses.
I'm probably gonna get rated like it ain't nothing about this whole segment right here, but I'm sorry. But look, we talk about character evolution. Y'all should have elevated Superman for his identity, my nigga. Bruh. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Okay? But that's what I'm saying. But anyway, going back to what we was talking about. The point is we're not chasing trends. We're building legacy. Now we're gonna use that. And that's a line for everybody to remember from what I just said, well, what we just talked about with Superman. We're not chasing trends. We're building legacy, which means you will not see me develop a character who can hide his identity just by wearing some damn glasses. That's all I'm saying.
Who made his suit?
I don't know. You say who made the suit?
Yeah, like he just had it.
Well, it's different instances when it comes down to Superman because of if you're talking comic books or television or anything like that or whatever, to some instances his suit was made on Earth, and some will say that his suit was made from his own planet that got brought with him, and for him to basically inherit by the time he got older. You know what I mean? It's always different sides to the origin of Superman and how that developed.
How do they know how tall he was gonna be?
Look, I don't know. Maybe it could be one of them things where if you go back to Spider-Man Homecoming, his suit, even though it was baggy or anything like that, but he compressed the thing. So obviously it adapted to whatever his size was. That's just what it is. So that can be excused if you really think about it. Am I wrong? Can I not be excused?
He didn't have a button on the front.
Look, I don't know, man. Listen, that's all. Look, I don't know. Again, we talking comic books. We talking comic books. We talking fictional stuff, man. So some stuff can slide. Okay, you know what I mean. So look, we moving on, man. We moving on. Okay. So the indie reality is what we will be talking about. You know what I mean? Like no big budget, no corporate backing, doing multiple roles at once, creative burnout versus discipline. You know what I mean? Why consistency beats talent, you know what I mean? And the pressure of betting on yourself. So we obviously got to talk about emotional support versus creative contribution. I mean, what you was
I have a question.
yes. Uh-huh.
You're just listing these, or are we just gonna like actually talk about these points?
No, these are what we're talking about.
Because you just listed them off. So I'm just asking, like,
Well, I mean, well, then shoot, just I mean, we're gonna talk about. I mean, the whole point is we're gonna talk about what the big budget is, the big budget and no corporate backing. So we're gonna go there.
so like not having a big budget. Obviously, we didn't like just save for years and decide to start this, or have a huge following where we could just hit the ground running, basically, like,
Right.
from starting with the Kickstarter to basically just trying to save up enough to get started with getting the first illustrations done, the concept art, the first couple of pages. That all took time.
Yeah. It did 100%. 100%. That, like I said, that's the whole point of the indie reality because you're independent.
Right.
You're independent. You know what I'm saying? You have no backing whatsoever. You don't have a rich publishing company that can provide the funds, the financial help that will help put your creative out there. You have to do it yourself.
And doing it yourself is
It's
across the
hard.
board.
Yeah, it's across the board completely.
Writing, going back and forth with artists,
Right.
you know, lettering, cover design,
Mm-hmm.
everything is you.
Yeah, that's and that is a very then that's where we went back, you know what I'm saying, and start talking about ask for patience when it come down to building stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, doing multiple roles at once, the multiple roles. Hey, no, that is no joke. The creative side, not just being a writer, but you have like emails, um promoting, marketing, all that stuff that you have to do. You do have to
Payment,
payment, you know what I'm saying? You gotta negotiations. You have to do a lot.
inventory.
Listen, you have to be, and then you have to be able to remember the small stuff. So my suggestion, because again, by us being very new to this whole thing, one thing I can 100% say from what we're speaking on, have you something to write all this information down so that way you do not be confused as for what to do.
Create a plan.
Create a plan, write everything down so that way you don't miss something, because when you don't think it's important, it's always the little things, man.
Do
It be
all the
some
free things
for
first.
real. Knock that out. You know what I'm saying? The free things, just
Getting
you know what
organized.
I mean? And then we have to talk about the creative burnout
Yeah.
versus discipline. Because bruh, hey, one thing's for sure is when it does come down to create the creative burnout. Because first of all, going back to what I have mentioned before, uh, if you don't follow me on social, obviously Phenom Comics on Instagram, and on Facebook. The thing is, I spoke on this after we made our first sale when I ended up giving my appreciation for those who have purchased the pre-orders for Night Reaper. Um, One thing I let it be known when it comes down to creative burnout versus discipline was because first of all, you have to deal with outside stuff, not just not just for your business and everything, because you gotta work. If you have a 9 to 5, you gotta deal with that. If you have family, you have to make sure that they're good and everything. And on top of still staying creative and doing your extra work and having the discipline to keep on going, because that can happen. You got to find a way to balance all of that. You know what I mean? It be times when you'll be tired. So say you got yourself a deadline and you know that it's something that you got to have out there within the next 48 to 72 hours or something like that. Or the next week, let's just say, give or take. And you have creative burnout. You're burning out because of everything that's going on, but you have to have certain things done at a certain time. You can really, life can do some damage to you, man, seriously. But that's where the discipline comes in. You go ahead.
You just nobody got anywhere doing things when they felt like it.
Yeah. And that's facts. You have to have discipline. If you have So my thing is this: you have to think about what drives you. You know what I mean? Y'all drive me. You know what I'm saying? You and our daughter.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because in life in general, because just you,
You have to have a goal.
yeah,
It's not about, doing things when you feel like it. That's the entire point of discipline is meeting your goal, meeting those deadlines. It's not about whether or not like you go to work every day because you need to get paid
yeah,
and you need to get paid a certain amount.
right,
When you get paid in 2 weeks or once a month, twice a month, whatever,
hmm,
it's not about whether or not you felt like going that day.
yeah, yeah. You have to do it because again, you have something to fight for. You know what I'm saying? So why does consistency beats talent?
Well, um, I would say for an example, like on Kobe Bryant, when he first came into the NBA, he was good, but him staying in the gym hours every day,
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing his health,
Mm-hmm.
that's what made him great.
Right. And
You know,
putting that work,
and
that mental
and
strength.
he, like he talked about when he played against Michael Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
because he was like, they call him Black Jesus. What? I'm not calling him that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But when you play against somebody and they're better than you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the talent to be just as good as they are
Right.
or better than them,
Right.
that's where discipline comes in.
Yeah.
You know, you have to keep pushing yourself, being consistent, even if you're not putting in as much work every single day. Putting in some effort every single day is going to get you further than just having natural talent
Right.
or just doing things when you feel like it.
Yeah. That's
That's one of the reasons why Kobe and Shaq bumped heads so much, because yeah, Shaq had talent, but Kobe had consistency.
yeah.
He was disciplined.
Yeah.
So
That's facts.
they're both great. They're both known as
Yeah.
greats,
Yeah.
but everybody knows Kobe for his work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real. That's real. And that brings up to the next point, the pressure of betting on yourself.
The hardest thing to do.
Man.
That is the hardest thing to do, because it's easy for you, in my opinion, it's easy for you to give up when people believe in you
Is it though?
versus when they don't.
You're saying it's easy to give up when people believe in you
Hmm.
compared to when you don't.
When they don't, yeah. I think it's easier for people to give up when someone else believes in them
Uh-huh.
versus when they believe in themselves.
Right.
Because when you believe in yourself, the only thing pushing you is you.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's harder to push yourself than it is for other people to push you, I guess. I think I'm saying this opposite. We're gonna have to edit that part out.
No, it
So
is they do. I
the
mean,
pressure of betting on yourself, um, yeah, I'm saying the opposite. I'm sorry. It's easier to give up when only you believe in you
right.
versus when other people believe in you.
Yeah.
Because the pressure to provide, the
Hmm.
pressure to succeed,
Right.
the pressure to um, meet those goals, those deadlines, you fulfill your parents' desires, expectations.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a family to take care of,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to give up on yourself when the only person that you're hurting is you.
True. That's true.
So it is a lot of pressure to bet on yourself because the only thing driving you is you.
That's
The only thing
exactly.
pushing you is you.
Exactly. That's my whole point of building Phenom is because I knew that excuse me, I knew I would have to, bet on myself.
Hmm.
I didn't expect it, I didn't expect people to help me. You know what I mean? It's like, truth be told, it's people that I thought would have my back more when I decided to get into this whole thing and I started presenting everything. And I started presenting everything to everyone. I thought I actually had backup to realize that I didn't have backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I realized that I didn't have the backup that I thought I did, that's when I realized, yeah, you really are betting on yourself, bro.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, nobody else is betting on you.
But nobody who
You know,
became great because other people believed in them.
You know what I
They
mean?
fought and clawed, you know, to get to where they are because they believed in themselves.
Right.
You don't believe in yourself, it doesn't matter how many people believe in you.
Yeah. And that's where we come into the emotional support versus creative contribution.
Right.
So Emotional support versus creative contribution. I mean, basically, where we discussing the whole thing with emotional support, it was because again, when you are going this is where the whole betting on yourself part.
Mm-hmm.
Because where I just mentioned the whole thing about people not really, you know, having your back the way that they should. You know what I mean? And where the emotional support comes into play is, man, it's just being like, wow,
I think it can affect your creativity.
it can.
Feeling like you have no support,
No
or
support.
feeling like people don't care
Yeah.
or want to see what you have to
Mm-hmm.
do, have to
Offer.
offer. Yeah.
You know
That can kill your creativity.
that creative contribution.
Yeah,
It
it can
can.
make you feel like, why bother, or, oh, you half-ass it
Yeah. Because you
because
feel
you just
like
try to put something forth so you can keep
right,
yourself motivated, or
right. Because
but it does make a difference when somebody believes in you.
yeah, I mean, no, 100%. And I think that's where, again, when we talk about emotional support versus creative consistent contribution, I'm sorry, is when, okay, like I just mentioned, my whole thing is I'm doing this because not only is because I love doing what I do, but I'm also doing it for y'all. So the prime thing is if I didn't have y'all to keep me motivated, it's the whole having something to fight for thing.
It's that balance between passion and
You know
sustainability.
what I mean?
You're pursuing your passion, but you're also making sure that it's going to be something that you can actually live off of.
Right,
It's sustainable. It's something you can take care of your child, your
right,
family.
right.
So, there's a reason why they call them, starving artists, because it's a passion that does not pay well
Yeah,
unless you have the right support system.
right. Yeah, that's 100% true. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that keeping balance between passion and sustainability, and and you touched on it, man. You touched on it. And now we got to go through the seeing the growth from the outside looking in.
You mean like when people act like they didn't see your
I
Facebook posts
for real.
and, oh, I didn't know you were doing
Exactly.
that you've been
Exactly.
doing for the past year
I've been doing it the
consistently.
past year. When you don't have that support and then people act like that they didn't see what was going on. You saw the
They don't see
stuff.
the work that you put in.
Yeah.
You see a post every now and then, but you don't see the up all night, go to work, come home,
And putting the
up all
work,
day,
putting extra.
you know, go to sleep, get up, go to work, up all night,
Mm,
come home,
yeah.
up all day,
Seriously. That's a big deal, man.
taking 5 minutes here and there to respond to artists.
For real. Man. Sometimes I take longer than that because you got to get certain things done.
Changing your payment processors five
All that,
times,
all that to accommodate your people. You know what I mean? People don't understand, man.
chasing after artists who told you 3 months ago that they were going to have 10 pages done
And never got it
and
done.
never got it done,
Oh yeah, people who basically just
losing out on money,
scam you. Basically, that's what it feel like.
people who tell you that they can do one thing and they give you a kindergarten drawing.
Yeah, it's it, man. There's been some things. There's been some things back in the
Nobody
ones.
ever sees the hard stuff.
No,
Nobody sees the disappointment.
yeah, and I know other creators have dealt with that.
Yes,
You know what I'm
everybody
saying?
deals with that.
Everybody deals with that.
If you are any type of entrepreneur, any type of creator, if you work at all with people, you're going to be disappointed
Yes.
because there's always somebody who will give you great expectations, and the thing that they give you in return, like the work they submit or even the level of communication they have is completely different than what they initially told you.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, somebody who gives you a page full of amazing art, hand drawn,
Yeah.
and then you give them a deposit and they submit something that looks like their kid drew it.
Yeah.
And then they have the audacity to get upset with you
Don't like what they
because
got
you don't like
presented.
what they have to offer, when what they have to offer is not at all
Yeah.
what
What
you
they
paid for.
exactly. You ain't never lied. And I know a lot of you guys can relate to that. 100%. I know a lot of you have dealt with supposed artists that shows art on their pages and stuff like that that make you want to work with them just for them to not present the art that you thought they drew. You know what I mean? That's gonna bring me to my next segment. Well, for another episode, but we're gonna get into that because that's some real live. So moving on, we about to talk about what Phenom stands for, and we got to talk about the core values of Phenom Comics. Now, understand something. The core values of my company is customer first. Customer first. Stories that customers can love, and the characters that they can grow in love. We are about setting a standard, being great, going after what we want while providing great storytelling, great character development, and most of all, making sure that the customers are satisfied for whoever decides to believe in Phenom Comics. Know you will be 100% satisfied with what we produce from this company, period. And, you know, and we're going to think about the depth over hype. So the thing is, I know a lot of people love the big two. We always talk about Marvel and DC. Marvel and DC, that's like these people, these comic book companies have hundreds, if not thousands, of characters that they have created over the years. I mean, it's been a century, pretty much, damn near a century since Marvel and DC had, made names for themselves. But the thing is, where depth over hype comes into play with us is the fact that, again, where we see everybody else fall off, we're going to make sure we pick up and bring back what made things exciting.
I
That's
think it was, for me anyway, is relatability, and it's also an escape from reality.
yeah,
So it's like that fine line. So it's like, okay, this character is relatable, but I also don't have to deal with the BS that's going on in real life.
yeah. You know what I mean? And you got to think about characters with consequences. We got characters with consequences now. You know what I mean? Prime example, Night Reaper. Night Reaper, Michael Brooks. This is a character who is the first character of Phenom Comics that will hit the palms of everyone that in the world that will see what we do, that will love what we do, and understand that is one of them characters that's dealt with a lot. He has a lot of regret. He has a past, and then eventually you kind of snap after you try to do right, and things just not going your way. And now we think about characters with consequences. Gotta think about them bad guys. because they done did some things that's going to have some consequences when they come face to face with Night Reaper. So that's a 100% facts. And then my biggest thing as well, because I feel like we gotta talk about villains with purpose. Now, I feel like what makes a great hero is having a greater villain. If we are being honest, or you 100% you start to work your way towards a villain. Now, am I wrong, Gabby, when I say that a villain, the better your villain is, the better your book gonna be?
No,
Am I not wrong? Am I wrong on that?
no.
You know,
The best stories have the worst villains.
the best stories have the worst villains.
Yeah, like they're terrible people.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's real. That's why a lot of people, if you think in Batman, a lot of people want the Joker. Out of all of Batman's rogues, you want to see the Joker at least once because the Joker is that good of a written character.
Yeah.
That makes Batman worth reading or watching.
He's interesting.
He's interesting because he's dark. You know what I'm saying?
He's interesting because he's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Nobody will ever think to do the things he does.
True. You know
And
what I mean?
one thing that people have always been interested in is the human mind. The
Right.
way it works, what breaks you, what makes you.
Right.
So that's why I think the Joker will always be a fan favorite.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? So we also got to think about what separates Phenom from other indie brands. Now, if I'm being honest, when I say what separates Phenom from other indie brands, um,
I would say involvement.
yeah,
You're involved in literally everything.
yeah, yeah,
Some brands create characters and have someone else write. Some brands create, a story and have someone
or,
they buy characters from someone
or just selling a product.
or just selling a product or um, the story is very dry.
Yeah,
It's not relatable.
yeah,
Ridiculously overpowered characters,
understood.
underpowered characters that have ridiculously amazing results. Like
Yeah,
how?
yeah,
You know, boring,
then yeah.
too direct.
Mhm.
Like there's no story building. There's no character development.
And that's what separates Phenom from them was the fact that we do the opposite of what that
Yeah,
is. Yes.
the character development, like I said, the fact that you're involved in every step,
Hmm.
hand picking, writing, literally involved in every single picture,
Right.
every single um,
Panel,
panel.
anything that page is being written, given a directive.
Yeah,
Um, and then on top of that, I feel like we have a realistic touch on, you know what I'm saying, in fiction.
yeah, relatability.
Relatability. That's one thing I wanted to put that makes I feel that separates Phenom from other indie brands is the fact that we have more relatability to others. You know, I again going back to what I
It's
said
related
later.
to us.
Yeah, going back to what I said earlier. I'm more of a grounded type when it come down to writing my characters and everything. I want my characters to be more relatable. I want my characters to be like, you know, again, being overpowered. Now, do not get me wrong. Phenom has a couple of those characters that can lift an entire island like the Hulk can. You know what I mean? Or, you know, but you got people who got characters, you know what I'm saying, that's punching people through different universes or multiverses
As children.
as children. Now, to some people, don't get me wrong, some people love that, some people like that. But as a character that's supposed to be getting developed, that shouldn't be the instant thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said with me, going back to me watching and loving anime. I'm not the type of kid like the type of person that the character shouldn't automatically be powerful as hell. I need to see development from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You get what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I need to see that. I need to see that evolution. You shouldn't be instantly soon as you hit. You know what I'm saying? You already a butterfly. I need to understand where did you start. That's the whole point of Phenom. Now, I'm not trying to knock no other brands, but Phenom is different. Period. Phenom is different. We're gonna give you some hard hitting stories, some dark stories, some exciting stories, and our characters will develop from head all the way to toe. That's what it is. You're gonna know from their start to their finish. That's exactly how I write, and that's exactly how this brand will be and continue to be as its characters will continue to grow, and you guys are introduced to these other characters from Phenomverse. You understand what I'm saying? This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? This is the audience that we're building for. This the audience that I'm building for are those who want to see heroes be heroes again. That can relate to them. That can say to themselves when they grew up or yet you dealt with your traumas and everything as a kid and what you could have done differently. What you would have done, you know what I'm saying, if you had this or you had that. You know what I mean? This is where we going for when it comes down to Phenom Comics, and that's exactly how these stories will be told for you guys to love. Period. Point blank. You know what I'm saying? So understand the future tease. So we obviously gonna move on. Just you know what I'm saying, and we're gonna talk about this. At the end of the day, the podcast is part of the universe. This podcast is part of this universe. So you will be, getting bigger stories. Bigger stories are coming. This is basically the foundation episode. All right. So I invite you guys to grow with us and give us a follow on Phenom Comics on Instagram, Phenom Comics on Facebook. We also have a TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you guys want to hear more, see more. And and on top of that as well, go to our website so you guys can sign up for the newsletter to be updated with new comics, new information, new stories, all that, so you guys can grow with us in the Phenom verse for Phenom Comics itself. You know what I mean? So again,
Pre-order.
oh yeah, and also too, pre-order Night Reaper Origins. It is online right now. Pre-order the physical copies for Night Reaper Origins, and once you do, as soon as we're done, we have less than 30 days to the end of this month before pre-orders are completely closed, before we start shipping everything out. And give us a review and everything else to let us know exactly what you think. Once this comic comes out, man, don't miss out on this, because y'all gonna miss the beauty and the possibilities of the first issues of Night Reaper Comics, Night Reaper Origins, and you just don't know where we gonna go with this. And we look to grow and build more from this brand, for this brand. So please like, subscribe, comment your favorite hero or villain type, and understand we got another episode coming after this. It's called Heroes Aren't Born, They're Forged. All right. So welcome to Phenom.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Phenom community.
This is only the beginning, y'all. More stories, more characters, and a bigger universe are on the way. Best believe it.
Until
Until
next
next
time,
time,
stay
stay legendary.
legendary.